you're with us at the moment. You're with us at the moment. Hopefully, we'll have some other people join us. But welcome you to this. Presentation this morning. We will be recording this, so if and it will go out on our social media. So if you don't want your face shown on social media, you're quite welcome to turn your video camera off. We won't be offended. Really been anticipating this presentation. It's one of my big time bucket list ones, the area and the product and everything. So I won't say too much. Enjoy the presentation. Hopefully there'll be time for questions at the end. So I'm going to hand it over from Aurora Expeditions to Jay, who's going to tell you all about the fantastic itineraries and places they go.
Hello, well, let's just get this all shared. Hopefully we can see the screen all okay. Everything okay with the screen there? We were all good? Yep. Well, hello everyone. My name is Jay. It's with great pleasure to welcome you to Aurora Expeditions today. In a nutshell, I very much love all things penguin and polar bear related. And I'm very fortunate to have traveled to both the Arctic and to Antarctica. And it really is a great pleasure to be able to share some of my stories and my photos with you today. If you haven't heard of Aurora, we've been around for 30 years, and it's a great pleasure to be able to talk about our legacy today and to introduce you to our ships and really give you a feeling of what makes us so truly special. So we're going to dive straight in here today. I'll just turn my camera off just to make sure everything runs smoothly, and then we'll dive straight in. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy today's journey. Okay, well, I'd like to start today by introducing you to our founder, Greg Mortimer, who's one of the real pioneers of the whole expedition cruise industry. Now, Greg is a legendary Australian explorer. He was the first Australian to have summited Mount Everest and K2 without supplementary oxygen back in the 1980s, and he's led over 80 expeditions to the polar regions. Now, Greg and his wife were so deeply inspired by the wildly remote places that they had experienced that they ultimately wanted to share this with the world. As a result, going back some 30 years ago, they set up Aurora Expeditions with the pioneering ethos of wanting to take small groups to the most pristine, untouched destinations on the planet, but doing it in a way that was very responsible and respectful to those environments. And over the decades, we've pioneered numerous firsts in the expedition world, such as many of the activities that we offer. But our most recent first was back in November 2019, when we launched our brand new vessel, the Greg Mortimer, which was named in honor of our founder. This futuristic vessel is the first ever of its kind in the industry. It was purpose designed by our expedition team to get deeper into the heart of nature. And you'll notice there that the bow of the ship looks quite different, and it's inspired by nature. It's a bit like the beak of a toucan or the nose of a dolphin. And this streamlined bow design means that rather than riding up and down swells like you would on a traditional ship in choppy seas, we're able to just carve gracefully through the water, much like a hot knife through butter. And for you, this means a much more comfortable ride. It's actually helped to reduce seasickness by some 50%. We have much faster sailing times through open sea passages. And crucially, it's 60% more fuel efficient with an 80% reduction in emissions. So we are so thrilled to have pioneered this futuristic design. And true to our ethos of wanting to take truly authentic small group expedition to a whole new level, our average capacity is just 132 guests, which means we do not have any restrictions on where we can explore and for how long for. And it's all about giving you that real deep immersion in the destinations. The ship is a beautiful vessel, but at Aurora, we're all about getting off her and getting out into the elements as much as possible, really treating the ship like a comfortable base camp for exploration. Our expeditions are spontaneous, and what we do is completely down to the local weather, the wildlife, the sea and ice conditions, and that's what makes our adventures so special. There is no fixed itinerary. There are no two voyages are ever the same, and we say this is very much like the flute patterning of a humpback whale. So when we arrive in a destination such as down in Antarctica, we unleash our fleet 15 Zodiacs. We all go out together in small groups of 8 to 10 guests, led by world-class expedition guides to explore remote landing sites. Our guide to guest ratio is 1:8, which is the very highest in the industry. And we'll aim to go out on 2 excursions a day, which are all included within our packages. Typically, our first excursion will be after breakfast, where we may go out for 2 to 4 hours at a time before returning back to the ship for a delicious lunch. We then relocate the vessel to a new area in the afternoon, and then we'll get the Zodiacs out again for another exciting adventure exploring the unknown. The opportunities day to day for exploration really are endless, but I wanted just to give you a small taste of some of the experiences that you'll enjoy, all of which are included as standard within our packages. We might head out on these exciting Zodiac cruises to see gigantic glacier fronts and maybe witness ice carving. We'll have incredible wildlife interactions, such as seeing humpback whale breaching. We'll have photography workshops to help you capture those special moments as they happen. And these will be led by our expert guides, such as world-renowned photographers, Scott Patelli, Richard Ianson, and Peter Eastway, for example. And these workshops will actually take place on the ship. They'll happen ashore at the landing sites, and even on these specialist photography Zodiac cruises that you can see in the photo there. We'll go out hiking in the Arctic and observe the miniature forest of the beautiful tundra against the backdrop of these enormous icebergs. The expeditions can be really as active as you want. So some of our guests like to just sit quietly on a beach and observe these incredible landscapes, but we'll also have a group that might go off for a gentle stroll together. And we'll also have a much faster hiking group where we might hike up to a panoramic viewing point, for a good 3-4 hours, for example. We're going to meet local indigenous communities such as the Greenland Inuit or the Koyak people of the Russian Far East. We'll visit ancient historical sites such as Erno Shackleton's grave site in South Georgia. Even the famous penguin post office in Antarctica at Port Lockroy, where you can actually send a postcard back to the UK. And mine actually took 3 months to arrive back home. Get to stand ashore on the Antarctic continent and observe the courtship displays of gorgeous penguins, and perhaps even see their inquisitive baby chicks. Over the years, we've pioneered many activities in the polar regions to give you the opportunity to experience these environments in your own unique way. And for an additional charge, we can even offer the rare opportunity to go ski and snowboard touring in Antarctica, snowshoeing, polar snorkeling and diving, and seeing those incredible icebergs from beneath the waterline, rock climbing in Greenland, alpine trekking in Antarctica and South Georgia. And we offer the very rare opportunity to retrace Erno Shackleton's footsteps over 3 days across South Georgia via ski tour or on foot. We offer kayaking through these beautiful, peaceful, mirror-like waters. You can camp out under the Antarctic night sky, where we might have penguins waddle past us through the night or witness the great crack of a glacier carving in the distance. This is, of course, another activity that we've pioneered in the polar regions. And if you're feeling really brave, for absolutely no charge at all, we invite our expeditioners to try a polar plunge, where you can jump off our ship into the bitter Arctic or Antarctic waters. And for me, it took the word breathtaking to a whole new level. And after the polar plunge, the shots of vodka are all on hand to warm you up, and we'll make a mad dash to the sauna or a hot tub on board. It's absolutely great fun, and I highly recommend it, as crazy as it sounds. So you may be wondering where we explore throughout the year. Now, we always spend a season from November through to March in Antarctica, which is effectively the Antarctic spring and summer. Most of our voyages depart from Ushuaia at the very southern tip of Argentina, and from here we cross the fabled Drake Passage, which takes us around 1.5 days before arriving into the magical South Shetlands and the Antarctic Peninsula, which we'll then explore in depth. And we also have extended trips to include the Falkland Islands and the incredible wildlife mecca of South Georgia. If perhaps you're a little nervous of sailing, we also offer our Antarctic Explorer itineraries, where we can actually fly directly from Punta Arenas in Chile directly into King George Island in Antarctica, where you'll meet the ship, therefore avoiding any days at sea. And when you're actually down in Antarctica, we explore lots of sheltered bays and coves, so you won't have any issues with any ship motion down there. And this is our Spirit of Antarctica itinerary. If you've always dreamed of seeing the incredible icebergs, standing amongst the penguin colonies and seeing the ice sculptures up close, perhaps spotting humpback whale, this would be the perfect adventure for you. And it's worth noting we have multiple departures throughout the Antarctic spring and early summer months. And our 12-day voyages have an extra 1.5 days longer down in Antarctica compared with most other operators, giving you more chance to get out in the incredible icy world. I wanted to share some photos with you just to give you a real sense of the sort of experiences you'll enjoy when down in Antarctica. We'll have lots of opportunities to set foot on the seventh continent and hike up to incredible viewing points, such as here in Nico Harbour. The sense of scale is always mind-blowing. You can just about make out our previous vessel in the bay there. It looks like a black rock in the ocean. And there are lots of opportunities to observe penguin colonies, of course. This is a Gentoo penguin, one of the main species of penguin that you're definitely going to see down in Antarctica. On this particular day, it started to snow and it felt like I was sat in this magical snow globe watching these beautiful Gentoos going about their daily chores, waddling and tobogganing through the fresh powdery snow. And they really are amazing birds. They're able to dive down to depths of over 600 feet looking for squid or krill. They can hold their breath for up to 7 minutes. They are perfectly adapted for this environment, truly extraordinary. And these are the cheeky Adelie penguins. They are the smallest of the penguin species on the Antarctic Peninsula, but they certainly make up for it in attitude. I love watching them steal pebbles from each other to build their nests. They're very, very cheeky. I absolutely love them. If you look closely on the left there, you can just about make out a tiny baby chick being fed by the mother. So very cute. These are the chinstrap penguins, named as they look like. They're wearing those little hats with a string under their beak. To me, they're very much the mafia of the Antarctic penguin world. I think they have quite a gangstery look about them. Very, very, very cool. On our voyages, we're going to visit ancient historic sites and research huts. This was a photo I took of a place called De Moy Hut, which was actually used as a British summer air facility to transit scientists to research bases around the Antarctic Peninsula back in the 1970s. It was amazing stepping inside and seeing everything left untouched for 50 years. There are old tins of bird custard still in the pantry. There's bovril jars in there. Sleeping bags are left on the bunk beds. It really was quite an experience. And I just loved looking out the window and seeing the penguins waddle past, just as the scientists and explorers did all of those decades ago. And there are lots of opportunity for spotting Weddell, crab-eater, and fur seal. And this is the first lazy chap I spotted. He was basking in the sun and having a very good scratch of his belly there. Humpback whales tend to head to Antarctica for a good krill feast, and they can be quite acrobatic at times. It's very common to spot them, particularly in February and March. And I was very fortunate to see a breach whilst out on a Zodiac excursion. And for me personally, that was something truly, truly special. And earlier in late season, you'll experience these breathtaking sunsets and sunrises. Now, you're so far down south in the austral summer that the sunsets down in Antarctica can actually last for many hours. And you can see why Antarctica is said to be unquestionably the most beautiful place on Earth. It's absolutely astonishing, and I really do still get goosebumps now when I talk about my time there. If you plan to only go to Antarctica once and really want the ultimate adventure and aren't restricted on time, then a voyage which includes the wildlife mecca of South Georgia is an absolute must. This is real David Attenborough territory. These voyages are between 21 and 25 days in length, and they'll include South Georgia, the Falklands, and the Antarctic Peninsula, all in one ultimate expedition. And during the height of the breeding season, South Georgia is said to have more wildlife per square foot than anywhere else on the planet. It really blows even places like Galapagos well and truly out the water. The landscapes are equally as legendary. The glaciers seemingly tumble from every direction, and the snowy peaks make for a stunning contrast against the tussock grasses, the glacial moraines, and the sandy beaches. This really is a paradise for photographers. And South Georgia is rich in polar history. It served, of course, as the final stage in one of the greatest survival stories of all time, Ernest Shackleton's endurance expedition. And we're going to visit his gravesite in South Georgia, and we'll certainly raise a toast to his heroic legacy. The sheer numbers of wildlife in South Georgia are truly staggering. It's home to 2 million fur seal and 50% of the world's population of the southern elephant seal that you can see in the photo there. And you might be lucky and see these beach masters, each weighing up to 4,000 kilos, fighting for their harem in spring. There are over 30 million breeding birds in South Georgia, up to 250,000 albatross, millions and millions of penguins, including macaroni, gentoo, and king penguin. For many, it really is the king penguins which really steal the show. Standing in St. Andrews Bay or Salisbury Plain, you're going to stand amongst 300,000 or more of these beautiful birds. And you don't see these guys down in the Antarctic Peninsula, so for many, it's one of the big draws for coming to South Georgia. Unlike the fixed annual cycles of other penguins, the kings have a 14 to 16-month biennial breeding pattern. So whenever you visit South Georgia, you'll always find these kiwi fruit-looking chicks and fully grown adults with their beautiful yellow plumage. And I love this picture here. It really gives you a sense of scale when we talk about the sheer abundance of wildlife in South Georgia. It's absolutely extraordinary, and it's certainly a sight, smell, and sound to behold. Truly, truly mesmerizing. So following the Antarctic season, we then head up to the Northern Hemisphere, exploring the Arctic from May through to September to see incredible destinations such as Greenland, Iceland, and the Norwegian archipelago of Svalbard. Now, these islands lie on top of the world. They're just 650 miles from the geographic North Pole, and they offer all of the classic Arctic tick boxes and wildlife spotting opportunities that you could ever wish for. In the far north of Svalbard, areas like Moffin Island are known for walrus haulouts. And we hope to spot Arctic fox, their endemic species of reindeer, whales, and seals. There are incredible bird cliffs also in the north of Svalbard. There's a little area up there called Aukivellet, very famous bird cliffs, which are home to tens of thousands of British guillemots and Atlantic puffins. And we have also incredible activities that we offer here too. So if you want to experience Svalbard from a very unique vantage point, we also offer kayaking, snorkeling, and even polar diving on these adventures. Now, ice conditions allowing, we do aim to circumnavigate these islands. It can get tricky through the Hinlopen Strait, so sometimes we might try and navigate clockwise or anti-clockwise around these islands. But above all, we'll be keeping watch for the infamous polar bear, which with a bit of luck, we'll spot hunting out on the pack ice. Now, we are the kind of company that even if we see polar bear at 3 in the morning here in the land of the midnight sun, we'll be sure to wake you up and let you know. We really want you to have a real full, true experience when we go out to these places. And it really is a true polar safari. This is very typical, I suppose, of the scenery that you'll find in Svalbard. You have these huge glacier fronts, such as the Monaco-Breen Glacier, that we will explore from our Zodiacs. It's absolutely spectacular. And these are our walrus friends, which I mentioned moments ago. They're one of my very favorite Arctic marine mammals. Yes, I love polar bear, but for me, I think the walrus stole the show. They're very, very comical to watch. They make all sorts of unflattering, stenchy noises. I absolutely love them. One of my other favorite destinations, which is relatively close to home, would have to be Greenland. Now, Greenland certainly has less of a wildlife focus than Svalbard. If you particularly enjoy discovering new cultures and seeing spectacular landscapes, then this would be an amazing destination for you to explore next. And seeing how people live in some of the most inhospitable places on Earth is truly fascinating. This is a hamlet I visited called Issaquahtamit that you can see on your screen there. And these guys are cut off 9 months of the year by sea ice. So we think we've had it bad with lockdowns. This is on a whole nother level. There is no way in or out of the village. There are no roads. And hunting with dogs and sledges is still very much a way of life for the 300 or so residents that live here. I'd share this picture with you. I got ambushed by a very smiley Greenlandic child as I was walking through the village. So we had a cheeky selfie together and a bit of a piggyback ride. I'd say for me, my lasting memory of Greenland is that it really is all about scale. The icebergs here, at least to my memory, felt that they were bigger than anything I recall seeing down in Antarctica. If you look at the rock in the bottom left-hand corner there, you can just about make out little dots, which are people. It gives you a sense of how big the icebergs are. You're talking 30, 50 stories high. They really are like cathedrals. And this is another photo that I took of an iceberg down in Greenland. It was a particular favorite of mine. Now that arch is so tall, you could easily sail that 8-deck ship directly under that without any problem. It's monumentally huge. And next year, we have some incredible new voyages that we'll be exploring in our Arctic and Global program, with currently up to 25% off. In the Russian Far East, we'll be exploring the volcanic Kamchatka Peninsula, It's a region so remote that very few Russians themselves have even been to the area. And it's home to spectacular volcanic landscapes, some of the highest concentration of grizzly bear on the planet, and it really is a mecca for marine and bird life. And we'll also have a very rare opportunity to explore Wrangel Island on 2 itineraries, which is in the high Russian Arctic. And that's famous for being a polar bear maternity ward, as it has the highest concentration of polar bear den on the planet. In fact, around 300 mothers give birth to their young every year there. It's absolutely astonishing. And we're also going to discover the wildly remote Kuril Islands, which are a chain of lush, stunning volcanic islands, very reminiscent of Jurassic Park, I think, and they're hiding deep out there in the Pacific Ring of Fire. We'll be venturing deep into the fabled Northwest Passage, which has to be one of the ultimate polar expeditions. For me, voyages don't get any more epic and rich in polar history. For hundreds of years, this is a region that captivated all of the great explorers, such as Franklin and Amundsen, desperate to find a route that would allow ships to sail from Europe to East Asia on a much shorter path. But it is an extreme labyrinth of continually moving pack ice. It's a wilderness that's certainly taken the lives of so many in pursuit of finding their way through. And in fact, it wasn't until 1906 that Roald Amundsen finally cracked it. Today, very little has really changed, and nature continues to rule the lands. And what a treat lies in store for our expeditioners. One of the real highlights as we enter the Northwest Passage is a region called Lancaster Sound, which is known as being a wildlife superhighway. We might spot beluga whale and walrus, and if we're very, very lucky, you might see these beautiful narwhal, known as the unicorns of the sea. And birders are going to be in their element too, that we have vast bird cliffs out in the Northwest Passage, which are all protected, home to thousands of migratory birds. And with such a, I suppose, an abundance of food source migrating through these channels, Lancaster Sound has the second highest density of polar bear den population on the planet. So it's a vast, vast wilderness, but we may get very, very lucky in spotting polar bear. And we, of course, again, also benefit from those lovely long hours of daylight to maximize your chance of spotting wildlife. Coming a little bit closer to home and exploring comparatively warmer climates, we're actually going to the west coast of Ireland next year. Conditions allowing, one of the many highlights is that we'll have the rare opportunity to set foot on this stunning crag, which is actually a World UNESCO Heritage Site called Skellig Michael, home to a 6th century Gaelic monastery. And it's more recently known for being the film location for numerous Star Wars movies. It really is spectacular. Similarly, close to home, we'll also go out discovering the widely unseen corners of Scotland and see fascinating Viking and Neolithical sites. And we're going to launch the Zodiacs to explore dramatic coastlines where we'll be keeping watch for seals, dolphins, photograph seabirds in one of Europe's largest seabird colonies. And we're very excited to be exploring our global destinations, which are hiding as well out in the tropics, such as the paradise marine mecca of Raja Ampat in eastern Indonesia. This has to be in my top 3 of places that I dream of visiting. It looks absolutely astonishing. And it's an area that's really only been discovered within the last 3 decades. It's home to the richest marine biodiversity and coral reef systems on the planet. And it's certainly a must for any marine enthusiast. And we'll be exploring Costa Rica and the Panama Canal, where we'll discover some of the most biodiverse rainforests on Earth, with endless opportunities for wildlife encounters, of course, with the infamous sloths, and then lots of monkeys, so howler, spider, capuchin, and squirrel monkeys. And we'll also visit remote indigenous communities, seeing a side of Costa Rica that very few get to see. And we'll explore Panama's UNESCO-protected Coiba National Park, which offers superb marine and terrestrial wildlife viewing opportunities. So I hope that's really whet your appetite for some of the truly special small group adventures that we can offer you. And I wanted just to quickly run through some of the inclusions that we offer on our packages, which offer exceptional value. You can see that the list is quite extensive, as we really thought about everything. We include pre-voyage hotels, transfers, all gratuities, all snacks and meals on the ship. So that's breakfast, lunch, afternoon tea, sumptuous 4-course evening meal. We'll include soft drinks, teas, coffees, juices, have hot cocos and chocolates 24 hours a day. And beer, wine and soft drinks are included with the evening meal, as well as drinks at our infamous captain's cocktails parties on board. Now, all of these incredible excursions with the expedition team are all included, as well as their fascinating lectures throughout the voyage. And we're going to keep you nice and cozy. We're going to include the waterproof and windproof expedition jackets. We also provide you with a lovely synthetic down mid-layer jacket, and they're going to be waiting for your cabin on arrival. And you get to keep all those jackets after the voyage. I've actually been using mine in the last few days here in the Arctic British winter. We provide you with insulated muck boots, which are Wellington boots, and you can loan those free of charge, and that's what you'll need for the landings. So really all you need to bring is a little bit of pocket money for a few nightcaps in the evening, or if you want some spa treatments, or to purchase some of the lovely penguin-related gifts from our onboard shop. And it's worth noting that you will require travel insurance. We do require travel insurance for all our voyages. Medical forms will need to be completed as part of the booking process. We also offer pre-bookable pre and post-COVID test packages to help facilitate your international travel arrangements as well. And alongside Baldwin's Travel, we're on hand to help you throughout this process. I just wanted to quickly highlight some of our current special offers. We're now offering up to 25% off these incredible destinations. Now, all of our discounts are strictly capacity controlled. So when they are gone, they are gone. We're not one of those operators that slash our prices near the time of departure. So the early bird very much catches the worm with us at Aurora. Now, if you're looking to travel to Antarctica last minute this season, we do have availability on select voyages between January and March 22 with up to 15% off. We have industry-leading booking flexibility and health and safety protocol in light of COVID, and we also offer a special deposit protection program, which has been put into place for you. All funds that we receive from you through Baldwin's are deposited into a separate trust fund called an escrow account. So you are 100% financially protected with us. Now, do have a look at our website or speak to the Baldwin's team for more information on this. And it certainly is the perfect time to be planning your next special adventure with us. With everything going on in the world at the moment, I think getting well and truly off the grid and having that big trip to look forward to in our small group style certainly appeals more now than ever before. And we're seeing a huge surge in inquiries and bookings now, and many of these voyages are set to sell out very soon. Remember, our ships are only an average 132 capacity, so it doesn't really take much to fill them up in a global market. True to our Aussie warm family spirit on board, we're very popular with solo travelers of all ages. We offer a cabin mate finding service where we'll match a solo traveler up with a fellow adventurer of the same gender, so you can share a cabin without paying any supplements. And it works really well as we're very much all about a similar mindset on board. If you prefer a cabin for sole use, our standard under occupancy is 50%. However, we do currently have some voyages going out to Antarctica in the next few months with no single supplement at all. These deals are very much first come, first served, so do reach out to the Baldwin's team if you'd like more information on this. So as we bring today's session to a gradual close, whilst we're all about getting out to the destinations as much as possible, I wanted just to give you a quick sneak peek of our home from home for you. There are panoramic observation decks all over the Greg Mortimer ship with unobstructed views, including these special hydraulic platforms which pop out from the very front of the bow of the ship. We have these amazing panoramas. We have 4 sea level Zodiac launch platforms, 2 on both sides of the ship. This means we can get into the Zodiacs very quickly and safely, so we don't miss out on those spontaneous events such as humpback whales breaching. The rear of the ship, there's a specially designed activity pontoon where we can safely launch our diving and kayak programs. Again, this is the first ever of its kind in the industry. And to give you a glimpse of the inside of the ship, here is our very relaxing polar library. It's a very calm space, which gives you a real feel for the overall decor scheme on the ship. We have a lovely gym and sauna on the vessel, and oh, not sure what's happened there. We have a lovely gym and sauna on the ship, and the sauna is wonderful after the polar plunge. And the wellness center has got fantastic treatments, such as the polar hydrating facial, which would be an additional charge. The gym, sauna, and the hot tubs are, of course, free to use. And this is our lecture theatre where our expedition team will talk about their specific areas of expertise and really bring a deeper understanding of the world outside. From marine biology to glaciology, polar history and ornithology, And we'll also have photography workshops too. For me, the expedition team, I suppose, really are the superstars of what we do. Many of the team have been with us for decades, and it's their knowledge which allows us to take those gentle nudges out of the comfort zone and get deeper off the grid. And true to our Australian roots, the expedition team are all very warm and approachable on board. They'll always join you in the bar and sit with you at dinner. We're always on hand to answer any questions. So we're very popular with both groups and with solo travelers alike. We're all one big family on board, and it's very relaxed. There's no having to dress up for dinner, very, very chilled. Following a day's exploration and a cheeky nightcap, you'll want to retire to one of our lovely cabins on board, most of which have balconies. After a good night's sleep, you'll be raring to go for an inspiring day of new adventures. So phenomenally successful has the launch of Greg Mortimer been, that we do have a second vessel on the way called the Sylvia Earle, and it's named in honor of the world famous oceanographer and explorer. And she's due to launch next year, ready for our Arctic 2022 season. The ship is pretty much the same as the Greg Mortimer, but there are a couple of minute differences. We'll have a specially fitted science center in the bow of the ship, where you can join in the expedition team and scientists on board in collecting real-world research for our industry-leading citizen science programs, which is a chance for you to give a little something back to the world. There are 7 key projects that we'll be researching on board, collecting data for world-renowned institutions such as NASA and National Geographic. We'll be examining fluke patternings of humpback whales. We'll be studying bird species, analysing water qualities, where we'll observe changes in phytoplankton and microscopic plastic content. And we're taking lots of atmospheric measurements and cloud observations. And this data is truly invaluable for the future preservation and protection of the world. And as part of our commitment to truly leading this industry with sustainability, I'm delighted to announce that we are now 100% carbon neutral certified, and we're also set to achieve B Corp certification by 2023, which is a huge testament to our commitment to sustainable tourism. Reverting back to the Sylvia Earle quickly, this is the stunning atrium area which leads up from that science centre up to this panoramic lounge, which is in the bow of the ship. We can have incredible views looking forward there. And next to the hot tubs, this ship will also have a heated infinity swimming pool, which is going to be kept warm from the residual heat from the engines. And that's very much in keeping again with our commitment to responsible tourism. I wanted to bring today's presentation to a gentle close by just showing you this picture of Dr. Sylvia Earle. Here she is back in 1979, where she held the record for the deepest untethered dive down to 1,250 feet. It's a truly, truly phenomenal feat that was only broken in recent years. Sylvia was voted Time magazine's first ever hero of the planet. She's a National Geographic explorer in residence and a true inspiration to all of us. It's thanks to Sylvia Earle that we have protected areas of ocean across the globe, which are called hope spots. And with her organization, Mission Blue, Sylvia aims to protect some 30% of the world's ocean by 2030. Now, if you do get a chance, do have a look on Netflix at a documentary called Mission Blue. It's a fascinating insight into Sylvia's incredible work. And you can imagine we're so thrilled to be working in partnership with Sylvia Earle in the development of her namesake. It's been really wonderful chatting with you today, and we hope this has really inspired you for your next adventure. Of course, if you'd like a copy of our brochure, or if you have any questions at all, do reach out to the Baldwin's team, and they'll be delighted to assist. I'm just going to put my webcam back on. I don't know if anyone may have any questions at all. Yes, thank you everybody for joining us. Hopefully you can all see me. I don't know if anyone has any questions at all. All okay?
That was great, Jay. Really great presentation.
Thank you. It's yeah, I feel so very lucky to be part of such a special product, and very lucky to be able to share my stories with you today. Yes, and thank you everyone for joining us. And if you do have any questions, of course, just reach out to the Baldwin's family, and we can even set up like a 3-way call, and we can all chat together and really help you plan your next adventure.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jay. That's absolutely fantastic. I think we've had a question come in from Oh no, we've had Elaine say thank you. Thank you, Elaine.
Oh, thank you, Elaine. Oh,
Do we have any questions?
Don't be shy.
Wave your hand or unmute yourself and shout. We've got about 2 minutes left, so.
Yeah.
No? Okay. If you do think of any questions, drop us an email. We'll get Jay to answer them for you and let you know on all that. I did notice one thing, Jay, when you were putting all your slides up, you had all the prices there in dollars. Is that in US dollars or Australian dollars?
It is US dollars, but I know that we have a conversion for you guys. Yeah, no problem. So it can be, you can pay in GBP. Yeah, but US dollars.
Fine. That's fine.
Good
Okay.
question.
That's all right. So thank you so much, Jane. Thank you everybody for joining us. It's a pity the others couldn't make it, but we will, as we said, we have recorded this, so it'll be out on our social media. We'll follow up on an email. I'm sure Trish will follow you up on an email. So if you do want to watch